big influence on people. These people can pack out arenas, they can pack out all this type of stuff.
The Rock says he's not following Biden no more. He's not endorsing them.
Right.
He says he don't like Trump, but he's not endorsing Biden because he didn't do what he said he was going to do. But like I told, what president have you seen walk in one term and do it? Obama had to do 2 terms to get half the stuff he wanted out of there. You can't do it in 4 years.
But the sad part about all this is that there's so much level of unrealistic expectation that are put on these men. And I don't understand why Americans by and large does not get that. You know what I'm saying? Why is it that you all that are watching the after show, whatever, maybe Kevin, why don't y'all get that? This country has never been set up that a man walks into the office and changes your whole damn community. It don't work like that. It don't change your neighborhood that way. And as I said on the Truth Behind the Truth, it took them damn 60 years to agree to stop an anti-lynching bill. Okay, of a boy that was brutally killed. Okay, in the rural South. And it took them 60 damn years to put a lynching bill on. And you think for one moment that they're going to just walk down your little narrow-ass street and change what's going on because Pookie got shot? Really? No. It doesn't happen that way. You know, and then you want to, then we're going to rest our time. Then you want to blame the justice system of what's going on, but you don't get politically involved in your community. Okay, it takes somebody having to get shot. It has to take somebody like a George Floyd to lose his life at hand for you to pay attention, but you didn't pay attention.
But what does he has to gain?
Not a damn thing.
But that's my thing. But see, that's the thing that gets me is most of these public figures that we look up to. That because this is the reason why I do not celebrity worship,
right?
And I don't look for people to tell me what I need to do with my life. Even if they, I feel like at the end of the day, there's a common sense logic to what.
If you have common sense,
what I need to be doing.
Common sense ain't common.
I know. And that's so sad too. But the crazy thing about it is what does The Rock ask? What does he get off of saying that I won't support Biden? He could have said so much other stuff, but something's happening behind the scenes. And you know what? With this situation with and I'm gonna go random a little bit with Puff Daddy. These distractions are getting on my nerves.
Oh, well.
Because the facts are the facts. Y'all not going to arrest Trump. You're not going to arrest Puff Daddy. You're not going to arrest these people who are making all this money because we know justice and in the way justices work, it's not fair to the common man. Because anybody who makes billions of dollars, they're not going to jail. They're not going to slap no handcuffs on anybody that's making billions of dollars. So what is the purpose of showing this stuff on our television screens? I don't understand it.
Well, this is the one thing that I think a lot of us lose track of. Freedom is not freedom. And the freedom you do have comes at a cost.
Right.
There's a trade-off. Never cut and clear. People say, I want to say what I want to say. Well, if you can say what you want to say, that means somebody else can say what they want to say. You can't just say one person can talk and one can't. That's my defense for hip hop. There's records everywhere that are bad. Talking about oh boy, the country singer said something about this tree and about the hanging tree.
Right.
He can't say his if we don't let Dirty Red say about her pound. I mean, everybody's going to have their moment to speak as they feel and do the things that they have an understanding for. So it's hard to tell one person to and one person not. That's the cost of freedom. And that's why I say in this country, sympathies you want, but you're not going to be able to get
white boy has the luxury of not, he's an individual. He is an individual within the situation. Now, Sexy Red she doesn't have the luxury. No, stop. She doesn't have the luxury of being an individual because she looks that way, a whole community looks that way.
Well, that's my point.
That is my issue with the whole entire situation with the way the media works in this country, because it just seems like we have always had the code switch within our culture to make sure that we were always upstanding, that we always did what was right, because the old saying is, if one acts that way, they all act that way. That white boy talking about a tree lynching and all that stuff in his country song, that was just him by himself, not a whole white community. That's the problem that I have with the matter.
But you're hitting on so many great elements of what you just said right there. And this is my point again, what I said earlier on, is that this is why, again, forgive me, don't forgive me, this is why I feel about this hip hop community and what it has done to the Black community, because we are looked at as that way, and that is not us.
That's not all of us.
You know, and it's not all of us. And
well, if you're going to talk about hip hop, what about fathers? Huh? What about Black fathers? If you're gonna grow hip hop, you're gonna have to say every Black man.
But it's just all of it is all one and the same.
I get that. But we should be working on controlling the controllables. Okay, and this is my point about controlling the controllables. We can control what goes out there. We can't. We can put some better suggestions in situation. Well, okay. Well, how you control it is that you don't invite this girl to go to high school twerking on top of a bus and making it okay. You don't invite her to go to high school smelling like weed coming in the door. You don't allow her to do those type of things to this future community that's coming up. The same way you don't allow the word to keep saying that Black fathers are bad, or most single mamas are trifling, or Black women have attitudes, which most of them do. So you got to change the narrative somewhere, and somebody got to step forward and control the narrative. Are we going to make it? Well, anyway, but when you're not offering or issuing opportunities or speaking against something, then you just saying it's okay, and it's not okay. You know, I mean, what are we fighting for within the own community? We want to fight outside of the community. We want to battle with the Caucasian and the Hispanic, but there's so many inbred battles that we're not dealing with. And the things that we're talking about right here are not the ones. What are we doing? What are we, just to use you and I as an example, Charles, what are we doing to the younger guys that are up on us? I know you do, but what I'm saying as a generalized, what are we doing to help them stop creating babies? Stop. Okay.
I just had the same conversation,
right,
with the guys here at the place I work for. I just had the same conversation. He's like, "I'm going to have another baby." I was like, "You barely 21. What you need a second baby for?" I'm just saying. She said she got said. So now you got 2 baby mamas, 2 kids that won't have one household. Hey, I'm just doing my thing.
Who can afford that right now? That's
my point. My son is just turned 40. He just got his taxes back from his first child. Just got his taxes back. He 40. My grandson turned 22 today. Wow. And my son just got his taxes back.
Wow.
The system is set up. It's not only the individuals, it's the system. Man, they got it set up so that if you do one little thing, you're in jail. And then you go, so I'm gonna pay child support if I'm in jail. And the judge told me you'll find a way. How am I gonna find a way in jail?
But and all points gladly said right here. But here's the thing still. When you know it, why do you keep doing the shit? Why do you keep putting yourself in these positions? Stop doing it. Simple. Stop doing it. Okay? We can't sit here and make excuses for you. We can't make excuses for the fact that, she looked good and I just couldn't handle it. Or it was her fault. Give me a God. I'm about to say something I shouldn't say.
Always settle.
You know what I'm saying? I mean,
well,
go ahead, Darnell.
You can't
let me turn around and shift from us people of color, because the thing about it, I think we put too many negative vibes on our people, even though we have negativity going on. So I think that's another thing we have to stop doing.
I know you got a point. Let me say this real quick. Then you go. Let me say this. I know he's got. I wasn't. What I'm doing here is not necessarily bringing a negative vibe on the. I'm bringing attention to it so that we can create a better vibe for this situation. But you got to identify the problem in order to identify the solution. But you can't, and what we have done, we have danced around the problem, not collectively here, because you come up with some great solutions in it. But we have the community by us is dancing around it. We got church folk that want to dance about that. They eat too damn much, but they want to talk about gay people. Really? You big as a house, but you want to talk about gay people? Come on, really? But go ahead, Darnell.
I'm gonna give you a known fact, and I can give the known fact because of the factor of every culture in its own right. Every one of them.
True.
Yeah. When I say it ain't just one, every last one of them, they pretty much have the same situations. It's just the problem is this: we turn around and we like to emphasize on ours more than they do. we sit back and talk about it and broadcast and this, that, and other, and the third. So that's the reason why it's so in your face when it comes down to things. A lot of them, they deal with it on the back end. And then if it come out, if it just figure out, you know, you hear about it sometime. And be like, well, I didn't even know that was going on. It had been going on.
Social media was the worst thing to have ever happened to our community. Look at our celebrities. If you want to look at Black dysfunction, look how they live. Look how they operate.
Well,
but I don't even blame social media. It's just like everything we're talking about. And Darnell hit it on the head. It's people. So if guns don't kill people, people kill people.
Right.
Social media don't spread lies and bad stuff. People spread lies and bad stuff. So you can't blame the mode or the platform. You got to blame the individuals who are doing it. Those are the ones that are making this stuff happen. There was a time when we had a little pride about ourselves and we respected, you know, I don't want to say that because my mom was watching or my mama gonna see this. Now they don't give a damn. They just say what they want to say, how they want to say. And most times the mama probably saying, you go ahead, baby, you say what you got to say. Instead of saying, hey, show some decorum, show some respect. Do it in a manner or a fashion that shows that you have some substance to you versus just doing things. But now it's like, I'm going to do what I do because I'm keeping it real. I'm me. You know?
Right.
And that's all cultures.
Where I tell people this. The biggest thing about it is you learn a lot when you turn around. If you have a spouse that is a different culture from you, you learn the factor that, guess what? Just as well as we are a shit show, they are a shit show just as well. Yeah. Sometimes theirs are even crazier.
Mm-hmm. But
you know, Sandy wouldn't talk about any of the Jews. He's like, I'm not going to touch it.
Right? Of course not, because they ain't gonna talk about it.
No, they won't. It's like keep it in house. My mom used to always say, "What happens in here stays in here."
Right.
We don't take that out the other house, and we don't talk about it.
But when you have, but again, social media platforms, you know, all these other. But when you have the ability to broadcast your shit over airways, and then you getting likes for that, that ain't keeping it in the house, and there's no desire because you're making money off of your shit.
But you know, I don't even think that a lot of these celebrities, in all actuality, I don't even think that, especially in the hip hop industry, I don't even think they actually even live those fucking lives that they call themselves talking about in that music.
No, that's propaganda. I mean, you know, the guy you had the article, the guy that's behind majority of this stuff is the guy over here that worked for Universal Records, okay, that has put all of this money in, and he has been known to say he walk into these communities and see whatever they're about, and then he says, well, I'll give you, you know, $100,000, you know, to start twerking your ass a little bit more, and then if you get popular, I'll start dropping another 100, and then they get flipping their little $20 and whatever up in the air. Because we've got communities that are so driven by flashiness. Typically, the African American community, typically the Hispanic community are the two number ones that are you know, motivated by flashiness. You know, so anything flashing, be it gold, be it diamonds, the fake diamonds, and so anytime that stuff is being flashed in front of you, you want to gravitate to it. So then, you know, again, these pseudo rappers, they get up to or hip hop artists, and they put that out there so that you make other people want, so they start gravitating to it. It becomes another level of propaganda. But again,
at the end of the day, why is it that we have to put this stuff out there? Now hold on. Let me say this though. With all the agendas that are going on right now, it's always something with the gender wars. We always got black faces talking about each other when it comes down to black men ain't no good and black women are too masculine. Then you got this situation with the LGBTQIA situations within the. We're putting that out there as an issue within our community too as well. We're always putting stuff out there for consumption, for entertainment. And that what boggles my spirit. It's like you get these black faces that are doing for likes and clicks and subscriptions. It's okay and well and good, but there is no solutions to these conversations. There's always a situation where we're arguing over each other, we're cussing each other out, we're pulling hair, we're talking about each other's mother, and it's crazy. It's like it tells everybody, look, I told you so. You see, they can't even sit down and have a reasonable conversation without pulling hair. Well, and my thing is with this is that like you said, Darnell, it's not only black people. But the saddest thing about it is we're always the ones who are the first in line to say, I'll do it. While everybody behind them say, well, yeah, you see, they'll do it. They'll do it for a little bit of money. Like, look at like you said, Housewives. Why are all the black franchises the #1 shows on Bravo? Why you got Housewives of New York, Housewives of New Jersey? They're not getting this main, platform to say, well, the shade and all this other. The black ones are getting all of this push because it looks good to everybody else to say, well, look, we don't look like this, so this is how they act. This is how they act. This is entertainment. Put on the blackface without putting on the blackface. I'm just saying. Put on the blackface without putting on the blackface.
But here's the thing, and maybe the great point. Where do we stop and start taking responsibility for what I'm saying? Everything that I'm saying is about coming back and coming full circle to the point. Where do we stop and say, hey, enough? Where do we stop and say that? Or do we continue to allow it to be pushed as a level of propaganda? What do we say is enough?
Well, it goes back to the code that we had during the 40s and the 50s. I hate to say this because we had no other choice because of Jim Crow and everything. There was a code in place. There were situations where Walter White, he was head over the NAACP. I'm always bring up the NAACP. Let me tell you why I'm going to bring up the NAACP. They were the ones that set the tone. When Lena Horne signed her contract into Hollywood, there were stipulations that told her she couldn't do this, she couldn't say this, she couldn't wear this, she couldn't dress like this, she couldn't act like this. And for many years, Lena Horne said, I couldn't even be me. I couldn't even be the country down home, no wearing shoes helper that I was before I signed that contract with Hollywood. But
you didn't say helper, did you, girl?
That's what she said. That's what she wanted to say.
Right.
But nobody knows the real Lena Horne.
Right.
Because the Lena Horne that we know was this bourgeois class woman. She wasn't all of that. But there was a code that she had to stand by because she was representing a whole people.
Right.
That's the kicker. We don't understand that we are the representation of a whole community because when we step outside these doors, we are representing people that look like us.
Right.
And and we don't have the luxury of individuality. We don't. I'm sorry. We don't.
Right, you're true.
We don't.
This is why I call it the NAA can't CP.
Can't CP.
It's very simple. The NAA can't CP.
And I'm sorry calling Lena Horne a helper. Y'all know, but that Lena Horne talked like that. She did because my uncle.
But you have to think about this though.
Yeah.
Majority of everything that working, and you should know from working in the industry or whatever the case may be. It's to the point. You think about now the things that people of color have to do in order to be able to stay on top and be able to do what they need to do. How many people do you know that is authentically themselves?
Darnell, you cutting off.
Big brother.
Didn't like what you're saying there. Authentically.
Go ahead, Darnell.
Authentically.
Go ahead.
You stopped it authentically. We can't hear you.
Go ahead.
Your mic, but anyway, until your mic comes back up. But
is it right? I don't think it's right that we have to not be our authentic.
But that's the thing I'm saying. So you think about the factor of now the people are doing, and they're finally kind of living in their truth in somewhat of a say. But you think about in that time where people they couldn't even go into the same door as a person of color.
Exactly.
So you know that they were basically in survival mode, and I think that's what's happened with our people. It's shifted. That's what that generational aspect of things have happened, where things have shifted and it's kept going forward and no one broke the curse. And that's what they're trying to do now, or whatever the case may be, about speaking up and speaking out. But when we say something, it's always a problem. Or why did she say that? Or why did he say that? Or why did he do this? Or he shouldn't have said this, or he shouldn't have did this, that, and other. But you don't understand. If you're not in that position, you can't say what someone should do, should or should not.
Well, exactly. Everybody's truth is different.
Clive Davis, Rupert Murdoch, Mr. Johnson over at Disney. These people are the handlers. They control what goes up and what doesn't go up. No matter what we say, look at Maya. Maya was gone for years. Why? Because they blackballed her because she wouldn't do what they wanted to do all that sexy stuff and everything else. Great talent, good side. There are other artists who are like that. If you don't have the balls to say, or the cojones to say, I'm not going to do it, which a lot don't, they're going to say, well, I got to eat. I got to feed my family. I do what I got to do. So if I got to put a dress on, I put a dress on, whatever it takes. Because you won't take it. Don't get mad. And that's like Cat. Cat's mad at everybody else because they done what it took to get that money. Cat got money. He's just mad because he didn't get the notoriety they got for doing what they did. But that's on the individual. If you want to, and I tell this to people all the time, they wore dresses in the days of the Bible. They wore dresses in the Roman days. They wore dresses everywhere. Why does a dress matter so much now? It's nothing but a fashion statement. And now my guys are wearing dresses again. So it's all a matter of what your preference is on your clothing or your fashion statement. So you can't just dog a person because they want to wear something they want to wear. I've seen it, and this is not no knock on the LGBTQ plus, but I was in the airport. I saw this guy standing up in the airport, built, had a suit jacket on, and when he turned around, had a perfect beard. Cut was on point, line up, turned around, had red lipstick on. I went, oh, and I looked down, and he was bigger than me, had on painted toes or open toe heeled shoes. I went, oh my God, the world has changed. But I can't be mad at him for wearing what he wants to wear. That's what he wants to wear. Oh, power to him. That's not me. And that's the problem we got. We're too busy trying to critique everybody and tell everybody where they need to be. And Michael Jackson said it best. Talk to the man in the mirror. That's where change starts. Start with yourself before you start pointing at everybody else.
Absolutely.
But you got to think about this back to that though, JB. Even Oprah Winfrey turned around and stated in the fact of, she said, when you go back to my financial timeline history, she said, I was not doing anything number-wise in financials until I started playing the game. She said, I played the game to get in position. She said,
But my thing is, what is the game that these people keep talking about? The game is, it could be anything because the game is so everything right now. Because, Monique, everybody who is so dead against the system, who is so dead against following whatever game that might be, I'm so conflicted on what is this thing we call the game? What is it? What is it? Do you know what it is?
You have to follow the rules to play basketball. You can't walk with the ball. You have to dribble it. You can't sing in a song unless the man upstairs, Clive Davis, and all these big dog heads say that song can be released. That's the game. The game is you follow the rules according to how it's given to you. Now, it's easier to do independent now because of the technology. But back then, you couldn't just go, well, I'm going to make my own record. You make it all you want. That's your money going down the drain.
Compromising yourself, though? Can you play this game without compromising?
That's an individual choice.
Like
I said, it depends on how you work, what your standards are.
And that is really kind of like a powerful one, a great question. Maybe we'll have to kind of dig into that a little bit more, give a little bit more information to that next week on the show, so we can explore that. You know how we like to come from a very strong, intelligent point about what that is. But what is the game? And guys, those of you that are listening right now on the after show,
and why can't we create our own game?
But those of you are listening, right now. I mean, if you have an idea what you think the game is, send us an email because we'd like to talk about it.
I got a tip for that.
Let me finish. What is the if you have a point about that, send us an email. And bring about your point about what is the game to you. The email is ttbttshow@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you, regarding that. And let's talk about this. Make it a conversation in the community so we can help communities be more identifiable of who they need to be and their personal representation. Same way with our mug is on the bottom of the screen there. You can send an email straight to the ttbttshow@gmail.com. The same topic, put it in the headlines. Hey, I heard it on this particular show. And we can bring it up on our show next time. Go ahead, Darnell, before we just drop off.
Well, no, what I was saying is that I have a clip, if we're going to go step into that next week, I have a clip for it on next week. But the prime example of someone who did not play the game, or whatever the case may be, is our girl Fanny. She didn't play the game, and she was not the get along, to play along, and she ended up being the person who did not have all the millions as a Jennifer Hudson who did not win.
Right.
Jennifer Hudson played the game. She's now turned around. She has a talk show that I still don't see to this day, see why she have. But she turned around and she played the game. Or whatever the case may be. To get along, to play along, to get along, to get where I gotta go. Or whatever the case may be.
See, again, we're all out here and we're hoping to not get in that part of the game, but there's always conversations behind conversations. Yeah. There's always truth behind it. And
I love Jennifer Hudson too. I love her.
Propelling us to one guy said to me is that when we were still in a lot of development about this show, our show, he told me one thing. I think I shared this with you, Charles. He said, I love your concept. I've watched what you've done. He says, I don't understand why it's not in the mainstream at this particular point in time because you have a wonderful platform. But he said, one thing for sure, stay in control of your own show.
Yeah.
So he says when you have opportunities, you give up your rights when you have certain opportunities. This is why, we look at the View, we look at the Talk. I mean, we'll talk about anything important, but they don't. I mean, you talk about Jennifer Hudson. So I mean, I like the Talk. I like Cheryl Underwood and what's the Mark, whatever his name is. But these are all light shows. They're not shows that deal with social issues. They don't want to get in and be heavily about the only thing that I think that gets a little bit close to that is Tamron Hall, but she has a way of kind of navigating around before it gets too serious, and Sherry, of course, now I love Sherry to death, but Sherry will never be in the position of having a political conversation. That's why I brought it up.
I know Jennifer Hudson was.
Oh my God, no, that's
girl,
that's a whole. Anyway,
that girl is so mechanical. She's like
we ain't talking about
that.
Okay,
the closest
we're not
Sherry
talking about
got
our
to
fellow ones.
anything that was political.
We ain't talking about our fellow ones. Okay, we can't say that.
That's the truth behind the truth.
Right.
That's the truth behind the truth in that moment.
Critique the show, but don't critique the person.
Yeah, it's just too mechanical.
Jennifer, listen, I stand by it. I still do not to this day understand why did they give her this show.
Stop.
Because one, she did not do the homework.
Stop.
Stop.
Just stop. Okay. Thank you for tuning into the after show tonight. We will see y'all next week on The Truth Behind the Truth.
Behind the truth.
Bye.
I gotta go.